"You're coming with me," he said after seeing the fat woman beaten by her in-laws for birthing 6 girls. The boot connected with Clara's ribs for the 3rd time. She curled tighter on the kitchen floor, arms wrapped around her swollen belly, tasting blood where her teeth had cut her lip. Her mother-in-law, Martha, pulled back for another kick. Worthless cow. 6 girls and still no son. Clara's husband leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching like he was observing livestock. The youngest daughter, barely 4, sobbed in the corner where all 6 girls had pressed themselves against the wall. "Please," Clara whispered. "Please what?" Martha's voice dripped venom. "Please forgive you for cursing our bloodline? For bringing shame on this family." The screen door creaked. Deputy Marshal Kane stepped onto the porch, legal papers in his left hand. Through the mesh, he saw everything. Martha's boot raised again. Clara's daughters crying. The husband's indifferent stare. Kane's right hand moved to his gun. "What's going on here?" Martha froze mid-kick. "Family business, Marshal. Nothing concerns the law." Kane pushed through the screen door. His boots echoed on the worn wooden floor. "Ma'am," step away from her. "She belongs to us," Clara's husband said. "My wife. My property." "Your property." Kane's voice stayed level. He looked at Clara, then at the terrified girls. "That right, ma'am?" Clara met his eyes. Something passed between them. Recognition. Understanding. "You're coming with me," Kane said. "Like hell she is." Martha stepped forward. "She owes us grandsons. She owes us." "She owes you nothing." Clara's husband pushed off the doorframe. "You got no authority here." Kane. "This is private." "I got authority where I see fit to use it." Kane's hand stayed on his gun. "Ma'am, can you stand?" Clara struggled to her feet, one hand bracing against the wall. Blood stained her dress. "My girls. They come too." "You can't take them," Martha shrieked. "They're family. Blood. They belong." "Not anymore." Kane stepped between Clara and her in-laws. The silence stretched tight as wire. Outside, his horse stamped and snorted. "Girls," Clara whispered. "Come here." The daughters moved like frightened deer, clustering around their mother. The youngest buried her face in Clara's skirt. Kane backed toward the door, keeping himself between the family and the women. "Anyone follows us gets shot." Martha's face twisted with rage. "She's worthless. She's brought nothing but shame and..." "Maybe..." Kane opened the screen door. "But she's breathing. That's enough." He helped Clara down the porch steps, her daughters trailing behind like ghosts. In the distance, storm clouds gathered over the wheat fields. Clara pressed herself against the passenger door, watching the wheat fields blur past. Her 6 daughters sat crammed in the truck bed, silent as stones. The youngest clutched a rag doll with one arm missing. Kane drove with both hands on the wheel, jaw set tight. 10 miles passed. Nothing but engine noise and wind through the open windows. "You taking me to jail?" Clara finally asked. Kane glanced at her. "No." "Where then?" "Taking you home." Clara touched her swollen cheek. Her fingers came away bloody. "I don't have one." "You do now." The truck hit a pothole. In the back, the girls bounced but stayed quiet. They'd learned silence the hard way. "Why?" Clara asked. Kane was quiet for a long moment. "Had a wife once. Daughter, too." Clara waited. "Fever took them 3 years back." His voice stayed flat. "Nothing I could do. Just watch them die." "I'm sorry. Got a ranch 40 miles north. Good water. Safe." Clara's hand shook as she pulled down the sun visor, checking her face in the mirror. Her left eye was swelling shut. Blood crusted her nose. "What's in it for you?" she asked. "Maybe nothing. Maybe everything." In the truck bed, the youngest daughter leaned forward, pressing her face to the rear window. "Mama?" Clara turned. "What baby? Are we safe now?" Clara opened her mouth, then closed it. She didn't know how to answer. Safe was a word she'd forgotten the meaning of. Kane's eyes found hers in the rearview mirror. His voice cut through her doubt. "Yes." The little girl smiled for the first time in months. Clara felt something crack open in her chest. Not breaking. Opening. How far? She asked Kane. 20 more miles. Clara nodded and turned back to the window. Behind them, dust rose from the road like smoke signals. Ahead, storm clouds gathered over distant mountains. She closed her eyes and let herself believe, just for these 20 miles, that safety might be real. The truck rolled on through the dying light. The ranch house felt heavy with memory. Clara noticed the woman's dresses still hanging in the bedroom closet, a silver hairbrush on the dresser, wedding photograph on the nightstand. She said nothing. Kane carried sleeping bags to the living room for her daughters. "You take the bedroom," he said. "I can't. It's hers. She wouldn't mind." That night, Clara lay awake listening to the house settle. Her daughters sprawled across the living room floor, breathing deep and even. Safe sleep. She hadn't heard that sound in years. Footsteps echoed upstairs. Soft, measured, a woman humming something low and sweet. Clara sat up. The humming stopped. She found Kane on the front porch at midnight, bottle of whiskey in his lap. He didn't look surprised to see her. "She's still here," Clara said. Kane took a drink. Good. Means she approves of you." Clara settled into the chair beside him. The night air carried the scent of sage and distant rain. "You hear her too?" "Every night for 3 years." They sat in silence. Finally, Clara spoke. "I had boys first. 3 of them." Kane waited. All died before their first birthday. Fever. Stillborn. One just stopped breathing. Her voice stayed steady. "That's when the in-laws started calling me cursed. Said my wound was poison. That's not true. Felt true. Every dead baby felt like proof." Kane poured whiskey into a second glass, handed it to her. When the girls started coming, they got angrier, said I was doing it on purpose. Killing the boys, keeping the girls. Clara sipped the whiskey. It burned. Shame became truth. Truth became violence. And violence became normal. "Yeah." Kane stared out at the dark fields. "I couldn't save them. My wife, my daughter, sat by their beds for weeks. Prayed, begged. Nothing worked. That's not your fault. Feels like it." Upstairs, the humming started again. Gentle, approving. "She forgives you," Clara said. Kane nodded. "Some ghosts help. Some haunt. Which kind am I carrying?" Kane studied her face in the moonlight. "Don't know yet. But you're here. That's something." The humming faded. Clara's daughters shifted in their sleep, safe and dreaming. For the first time in years, Clara felt something like peace settling in her chest. "Thank you," she whispered. Kane raised his glass. "Thank her." The dust cloud appeared at noon. 3 men in a pickup truck, moving fast down the dirt road. Kane set down his coffee and reached for his rifle. Sheriff Dalton stepped out first, badge glinting in the sun. Clara's husband followed, then her father-in-law. All 3 wore the same hard expression. "Kane," Dalton called out. "Need to talk." Kane walked the porch edge, rifle loose in his hands. "About what?" "About stolen property." Clara's husband pointed toward the house. "My wife, my children. You got no right." "I got plenty of right." Dalton pulled folded papers from his pocket. Legal documents. Marriage certificate. Property deeds. She belongs to her husband. People don't belong to people. Law says different. Dalton's voice carried authority. "She's property, Kane. You know better." The screen door opened. Clara stepped out. Her 6 daughters clustered behind her like frightened birds. "Clara," her husband said, "time to come home." "I am home." "This ain't your home. That ain't your choice." Clara's voice stayed quiet but firm. "I'm staying." Her husband's face twisted with rage. He raised his hand to strike her. Kane moved fast, catching the man's wrist in an iron grip. "Touch her and die." "Let go of me." Kane squeezed harder. Bones ground together. "No." Dalton's hand moved to his gun. "Kane, let him go." "He tries to hit her again, I'll break his arm." You're interfering with lawful. Lawful? Kane's laugh was harsh. Beating women is lawful now? Dalton drew his weapon. Step back, deputy. Kane released Clara's husband, but didn't step back. The tension stretched tight as wire. Clara's daughters pressed closer to their mother. Stop. Clara stepped between the men, arms spread wide. All 3 guns tracked toward her. Just stop. She looked at her husband. His face showed nothing but ownership denied. No love, no loss, just anger at being defied. I'm not your property anymore. You always were, always will be. No. The word hung in the air like a gunshot. Dalton lowered his weapon first, then Kane. Clara's husband stood there, fists clenched, realizing his power had limits. This ain't over, Dalton said. Legal system, don't forget. Neither do I, Kane replied. The 3 men climbed back into their truck. Dust swirled as they drove away. Clara's daughters slowly unclenched their fists. That evening, Clara found Kane cleaning his rifle on the porch. Teach me, she said. Teach you what? How to shoot. Kane looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Tomorrow we start. The vision started at dawn. Clara saw burned children standing in the wheat fields. Their charred faces turned toward the house. When she blinked, they vanished. Mama? Her oldest daughter tugged at her sleeve. You okay? Fine, baby. Just tired. But it wasn't fine. Blood seeped through the kitchen walls like old stains. Women hung from the oak trees, their necks bent at impossible angles. Kane's wife appeared more often now, sometimes pointing toward dangers, sometimes just watching with sad, knowing eyes. The daughters began reporting nightmares. She comes at night, the youngest whispered. The hungry woman. She eats girl babies. What does she look like? Like Grandma Martha, but with black teeth. Clara's hands shook as she made breakfast. The visions weren't madness. They were memory. Her grandmother's stories came flooding back. Women who disappeared in the night. Daughters who died at birth but were really smothered. A family tree twisted by generations of killing girls, keeping boys, maintaining bloodlines through violence. Kane, she called. He was fixing fence posts near the barn. What's wrong? This land. What happened here before you? Kane straightened, hammer in his hand. Old homestead. Family named Morrison. All died in a fire. All of them. Just the women. Men survived. Clara felt ice in her veins. When? 50 years back. Maybe more. The hungry woman wasn't Martha. It was older, deeper. This ranch sat on killing ground, soaked with the blood of murdered daughters. That night, pain ripped through Clara's belly. She doubled over, gasping. What is it? Kane rushed to her side. I don't know. I can't be. The pain came again, sharper. Oh, God! Her water broke on the kitchen floor. Kane's eyes went wide. You're pregnant. I didn't know. I thought the stress. Around them, the house erupted in supernatural chaos. Doors slammed. Windows shattered. The temperature plummeted. Kane's wife materialized, pointing urgently toward the bedroom. Move, Kane ordered. He half-carried Clara to the bed as ghostly women filled the house. Some screamed. Some wept. Some stood guard. Clara's daughters held together, wide-eyed but strangely calm, as if the spirits protected them. Push, Kane commanded. Clara gripped the sheets, bearing down. The baby came fast, slippery and screaming. Kane caught her, cleared her airway. A girl, he whispered. The supernatural chaos stopped instantly. Silence fell like a curtain. Kane's wife smiled and faded. The other spirits retreated into shadow. Clara held her daughter, tears streaming. She's beautiful. She's alive. In the distance, engines roared. Headlights cut through the darkness. Multiple vehicles approaching fast. Kane grabbed his rifle. They're back. Clara looked down at her newborn daughter, then at her 6 older girls. How many? Too many. The baby opened her eyes. They were pale blue, like winter sky, like freedom. Then we fight. Dawn broke gray and violent. 8 men surrounded the house, rifles aimed at every window. Sheriff Dalton stood behind his truck, megaphone in hand. "Clara, come out with the baby." Kane crouched by the front window, rifle ready. Clara lay in the bedroom, newborn daughter in her arms, a pistol on the nightstand. Her 6 older daughters had disappeared into the root cellar hours ago. "You got no right," Kane shouted back. Clara's father-in-law stepped forward. "That baby belongs to our family line. You're harboring stolen property. Try and take her." The first shot shattered the kitchen window. Kane returned fire, his bullet punching through the truck's windshield. The siege had begun. Gunfire erupted from all sides. Bullets splintered wood, shattered glass, filled the air with smoke and fury. Kane moved between windows, picking targets, forcing the attackers to keep their distance. Then the temperature dropped 20 degrees. In an instant, Clara's grandmother materialized in the bedroom doorway, translucent but fierce. Behind her came others, dozens of women, all bearing the marks of violent death. Strangled, beaten, shot, burned, an army of the murdered. "Jesus Christ," one of the attackers screamed. "What the hell is that?" The ghostly women poured through the walls, surrounding the house. Their presence sent primal terror through the living men. Some dropped their weapons and ran. Clara's husband tried climbing through the back window. A phantom woman grabbed him, her spectral hands closing around his throat. He fell backward, neck snapping against the window frame. "Dalton's moving." Kane called. The sheriff sprinted toward the front door. Kane's rifle cracked. Dalton spun and dropped, blood spreading across his chest. The father-in-law charged the bedroom window, firing wildly. His bullet caught Kane in the shoulder, spinning him around. Clara raised her pistol with steady hands. The old man's eyes went wide. "You wouldn't." Clara's shot took him center mass. He staggered backward, rifle falling from nerveless fingers. "For every daughter you killed," she whispered. He collapsed in the dirt, blood frothing from his lips. Around the house, the surviving attackers fled into the dawn, terrified by things they couldn't understand. The ghostly women began to fade. Clara's grandmother lingered longest, smiling at the newborn baby before dissolving into morning light. Kane clutched his wounded shoulder, breathing hard. "It's over." Clara held her daughter close, looking out at the scattered bodies of their enemies. "No, it's just beginning." The baby opened her eyes and gurgled softly, unafraid of the blood and smoke that marked her first day of freedom. 3 months later, Clara wrapped fresh bandages around Kane's shoulder. The bullet wound had healed clean, but he still favored his left arm. Through the kitchen window, 7 daughters played in the yard. 6 who'd inherited fear, 1 born into freedom. "How's it feel?" Clara asked. "Better. Still stiff in the mornings." The house felt different now, lighter. Kane's wife appeared occasionally, always peaceful, always approving. The other spirits had faded with the violence, their purpose fulfilled. Clara had taken Kane's name not through marriage but through choice. Partners in survival, not property arrangements. She kept the ranch books balanced while he tended livestock. 2 damaged people building something new from broken pieces. Sheriff Martinez stopped by yesterday. Kane said, "What did she want?" "Monthly check-in, same as always." The new sheriff was a woman from the state capital, appointed after Dalton's death. She understood what had happened here, without needing explanations. Clara kept the rifle by the door, but rarely thought about using it anymore. Safety felt real now, not borrowed. At sunset, they sat on the porch watching fireflies dance between the wheat stalks. The girls chased after them, laughing, their voices carrying across the fields like music. The baby slept in Clara's arms, peaceful and unafraid. "Think they'll grow up different?" Clara asked. Kane watched his daughters, their daughters, running wild and free under the darkening sky. The oldest taught the youngest how to cup fireflies without hurting them. No fear in their movements. No shame in their laughter. "Already are." Clara nodded, rocking the baby gently. In the distance, thunder rumbled over the mountains, promising rain for tomorrow's crops. The girls kept running, kept laughing, kept living like children should. For the first time in her life, Clara understood what home meant. Not walls or deeds or legal papers. Just this: chosen family, honest work, sleep without nightmares. The fireflies blink like stars falling to earth, and the daughters chase them fearlessly into the gathering dark.